Hey YouTube, Kyle the Sit and Go Guy here with you, and you're about to watch my fourth game of online Texas Hold'em poker. Now if you've been following along with me and watching in order, you'll know that in my third game I was able to get third place. Not too bad considering if you watch that game. So we'll see how the trend continues. I've now cashed in 2 out of my first 3 games that I'm doing for YouTube. Again, I'm not re-recording these, they're just, you get what you get. If I lose, that's what you're gonna see. So we'll see what happens with this fourth game here. This fourth game's called Maybe Like a Set, and you'll see me say that at some point in the recording. So without further ado, here is that episode. I hope you enjoy, I hope you learn a little something. Keep playing poker, keep having fun. Thanks, YouTube. Hey YouTube, Kyle here for another installment of online poker. Gonna be continuing to work out how this YouTube thing works. I'm gonna be getting a haircut here soon. Maybe clean up my look a little bit so the next video you watch might see a different side of Kyle. We got a game here starting in just a few. Again, just starting this whole YouTube thing, so each episode should be getting a little better, quality-wise, light-wise, all that stuff that YouTubers care about. I've been playing poker a very long time, years and years and years of online poker, so as far as the content, it should be great. As far as the video editing, audio, that stuff, it will all be a work in progress. But poker that you'll be seeing is real. Like this King 9 offsuit I have right here, it's all real. The tips I give you are real. You might disagree with them, that's totally fine. Feel free to post about the poor decisions you think I made, but it has hold tried and true that I don't lose money. So take that for what it's worth, which is to me worth money. Right. Anyway, here we are. Looks like we got full table. I recognize a couple players from my last game, which is nice when you consistently play the same type of game. You see a lot of the same players. Oh, hi. A lot, which gives you insights on how they play so you can play even better. So it looks like unicorn over here I have some notes on. Whoa, excuse me. Apparently not any notes, I just have a color. And that color, if you remember from my previous videos, means they did something I would consider a bad play, which when you make bad plays in games like this for money, usually means you're not profitable or are not as profitable as you could be. The refrigerator, I played in a couple games now as well. You may have heard me talk about that refrigerator. And the gentleman in the cap on the right was also in some games with me recently. So it looks like I have 3 players here. I want to play against your man again. And they're going to be given the opportunity to do just that. A little background on my poker playing, if you care to know. Used to play in house games all the time with my friends. Played around the town, a lot of tournaments around the town I live in Wisconsin. Got a lot of practice winning some of those. I've played in Vegas as well. Fun fact, my first tournament I ever played in Las Vegas was at the Stratosphere Hotel. Me and a buddy went right to the poker table when we got there, and I ended up taking first place in that tournament. I don't normally play big tournaments like that unless they're live games, just because I prefer the small sit and goes when I play online. It helps control my zen, because that's a big part of playing poker, is not letting it affect your life and just enjoying it as a game, which I do. I should also probably be talking about why I do what I'm doing, such as why I just folded a Queen-4 under the gun. So that I was under the gun, which means I am sitting right to the left of the big blind, in case you did not know that. Under the gun is the first person to fold or call or raise, and it's one of the very worst positions in poker, because on all subsequent rounds, except for the blinds, you're very early to act. And also pre-flop, when you're under the gun, everyone else has an opportunity to react to what you do. So in this position I'm at right now, you have to be extra selective about the cards you play. And a Queen-4 is not anything that I want to go to war with. That's kind of how I play my poker. I guess I can give you a little insight on that. Right now I have 1,500 soldiers. They're my men, they're my women, they're here to fight for me. Holy cow, that's pocket aces. Very nice hand. And the other guy had a full house. That was a crazy hand. Anyway, I have 1,500 soldiers. Right now, I have 30 soldiers protecting a Jack-9 offsuit. Now it's going to have to cost me 120 more soldiers to protect that hand. I don't want to do it. To you 30 soldiers, I don't, but I just did. You're not worth another 150. At this point, it looks like I would have had a good flop, but at the time, a Jack-9 was not worth sending more soldiers in to potentially die for. So anyway, continuing on with my poker, 5-7 in the small blind. Again, it's really bad position. I would be first to act at the beginning of every round. 5-7 isn't a good hand, not worth sending more soldiers in to defend, so I fold it. But now I'm going to be on the button. Now I have the best position in the game. I'm the dealer. 6-10 still isn't good, so even with the best position, I don't feel like sending soldiers in when I don't have to. 10-8 suited. For those who've been watching a couple videos of mine, you know my 10-8 is my favorite hand. I try not to overplay it, but it's a horrible hand, so typically I only get in for cheap, which is a 30 call. If it ends up costing me more than that, I typically run away. And for fair reason, like this. I had a horrible hand. I still have a horrible hand. I still have no draw, no anything, so that is an easy fold for 30. I had no straight draws, no flush draws. I had draws to second pair, which in poker is not a real draw. All right, King-2. Don't want to go to war with the King-2, so I'll just continue to fold. Again, when blinds are very small like this, I recommend having something else to do to occupy your time, or if you're disciplined enough to play and just fold, that's great too. Some people like to play multiple games at a time. That way they don't overplay because they're staying busy. Sometimes that can be a hassle when you get into multiple games or you have to make big decisions, so I typically don't do that. I used to play 4 games at a time. I now majority just play 1 game at a time, which makes it good for making YouTube videos now, so that's great. What do I do with the King-10 facing a raise? I fold it. It's not suited, though that doesn't help it much. It's just really good at being a second best hand, and for now I just think it's worth folding. Now I would have just flopped top pair, We don't know if that would have been good or bad. Probably good. But again, we don't know right now if we would still be the best hand. I would want to call. But one of the things I'm doing, which is not really something you should be doing, is reflecting on what you could have been, because that's going to make you play differently, and you don't want to do that. If you are, in my case, just playing very, very tight and folding king tens, you shouldn't think about how you could have flopped a good hand, because you folded for a reason, and you need to just commit to that. Try to not reflect and start to doubt yourself, because then you'll end up playing more hands than you should and bleeding money out, losing soldiers that you shouldn't lose. 4-6, I didn't explain that one. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I was in bad position. Now here we have a good hand. I'm under the gun, which is what I said is a worse position. I have a very good hand. I don't want to limp, let people get in too cheap, so I typically, with the good hands, open for a raise. We'll see what happens. I take it down. That happens sometimes. Again, try to not get upset about the times it doesn't work the way you want. You know, contemplating, should have just called to get more action there. Don't contemplate it. You raise with good hands, so bad hands don't outdraw you. In this case, I got an ace. I got position. Don't need to raise him. It's not that good of a hand. I'm also kind of getting a read on Dijon right now. I know my ace is probably good. I like checking it down to see if other players that sit next to me are capable of checking it down, or if they have to bet. In this case, he makes an insane overbet on the river. No need to look him up to see if he's telling the truth or not. I just put it in my bank as he'll check it down to the river and then overbet the river. So maybe he's someone in the future I would want to slow play and try to trap. Players that do that are very susceptible to getting trapped. And I love trapping people, probably my favorite, because I'm such a slow, tight player. It gives you a lot of opportunities to have really big hands, and allows you then to slow play and get people to give you more money. It does sometimes lead to letting people outdraw you, which is something you have to deal with, but it's all about finding the balance and the risk chip balance, and continuing to critique yourself and get better. You just saw me auto fold a king 9 on the button. A lot of players probably could and would have played that hand. For me, again, being extra tight, I don't. In this case, I'm going to do it a little bit better. The ace with the 9, plus it's now suited, just gives my hand a bigger range to hit. I have a gut shot straight draw here, but with 3 clubs, that really doesn't mean much. I'm kind of just hoping that we all check it down and an ace high wins. It's very possible. So we'll see. Decent kicker. We'll see. Nope, he had hit a 7. But that's good. Didn't cost me any. Could have won. Didn't happen. Not much risk, not much reward, which is kind of what you want to do at the beginning of these games. You don't want to put a big risk in. My goal is always to get top 3 in the game, and you can't do that if you make big risks and play coin flips with your chips early on. So my goal is always to never get 9th through 4th. And if I have to pick one of those positions, I would rather have 4th and I'd rather have 5th. Essentially, my goal is always to get the best final position in the game as I can. But the initial goal is always top 3. So you have to play the long game. You want to take calculated small risks. Otherwise, if you have the best hand early on, obviously you can bet big, but you have to be very cautious and take little risks as you can. Also need some cards to play, so we'll see what happens here. Get some of that waiting music in. I'm gonna have to make my own waiting music. Do a little tapping. Alright, here we go. Cards keep coming. Jack 3 suited. Jack 3 in the club. I don't want to be in the club. I want good cards. Alright, so we just keep waiting. Blinds go up in just about 2 minutes. Got a couple short stacks now. 384 over there the dog has. So he is short stacked. So I now need to keep that in mind, that a short stack could go all in at any time. Which will make limping require a little bit more of a hand, because I don't want to be limping for 60 if a guy's going to go all in for 360 and I'm going to have to fold. But we'll see what happens here. He might be all in, and he is. He outflopped the ace jack, and the ace jack outturned him for the win. Goodbye, puppy dog. Now I don't have to worry about the short stack anymore. We are down to 7. I have a Doyle Brunson in the club. That's a 10-2 for those who don't know. RIP. It's suited. We'll take a look. Because I'm not Doyle Brunson, I did not get a good flop. And I will just check fold this horrendous flop. This is an opportunity sometimes where you can bluff because there's a big card. And I'm just going to take a stab at it because there's a king out there, which is going to scare off anyone who doesn't have a king. And Buck called. So now I'm in bluff or not bluff mode, and I'm going to have to bluff. So I'll ship 300, and it worked. I was trying to show I had a king, which you can do with one big card. And holy cow, I just realized I'm not sharing my screen. Or my camera. There we go. Camera's back on. Camera's back on. Sorry guys. I'm new to this. I'm working it out. I'm min betting top pair. Just seeing what shakes out. Apparently this guy taking his time is shaking out. Hi, puppy dog. Maybe you'll see my dog on a future episode. Hi. Hi. As I learned a little better getting stuff set up here. So he called. He's probably just calling with overcards. Now he's re-raising me. Not sure if I believe him. So I'm just going to check it now and see what happens. Why would you re-raise on the turn would be the question. And then a 2 now. Very interesting. This is a tough one. I'm probably going to fold. He re-raises me on the turn. Maybe like a set. Maybe he had a flush draw and hit an ace. Is it worth me looking him up? I lose to an ace, I lose to a 2, I lose to a better 9, and I'm just going to fold. And he shows a set, which was one of the things I said he probably had first, which was a set. And it was a good fold. I got away from top pair. My little min bet on the flop, turn, and river, or I don't think I did on the river, gave me enough ideas that he had a set or beat me. So hopefully you got some understanding about why I played that, and hopefully should that situation come up for yourself in the future, you're able to, as I was, get out without too much issue. If he would have re-raised me on the flop, there's a potential I could have gotten into some trouble. Luckily he didn't, and I was mostly able to get out of that hand unscathed. So we'll see how it goes. Just playing my hands, trying to save my soldiers. It was nice that he showed his hand. By the way, I have my cards auto muck, so I never have the opportunity to show my cards. And the reason I do that is I don't want to share information with other players. There are some times where it could be valuable to show your cards, like when you bluff, but I just turn it off so I don't even risk it, because I feel like there are good enough players out there that will take that information and could make them better against me. Anyway, here I had an ace-4. You saw me quickly throw it away. Again, because we're under the gun, which is the worst position. Blinds are pretty big now. I only have about 14 of them. And there's still 7 people at this table. So an ace-4 against 6 other players, 9 times out of 10 is not going to be the best hand at the table. So for me, it's an easy fold. You would have called, you would have had a fold to any raise essentially, so don't do it. Even if it was suited, I would have still folded it. And so we'll see. We will see if we can continue to dodge sets and make good decisions that will lead us into the top 3. That's what we're rooting for, going for we need to get on that podium. We don't get on that podium, then babies aren't eaten. Just kidding. This is just fun. Yeah, again, we're just trying to be good enough to be able to play for money, have fun, and not lose money. This guy just made a good call. I have a suited ace in the big blind. We're almost at the point where I'll cover up my big blind hands until it's my turn to act. Not quite at that point yet, so I see already what I have. Let's see what Shark Boy does. And he raises. Ace deuce suited. I would have been against the button. I would have been out of position without a good kicker. It wasn't worth defending. Again, we can get those soldiers back, but we need to have soldiers in the bank. We need to have chips to get those chips. So for now, we're just going to keep playing tight power poker and wait for the good hands to help us out. Okay, we got 2 people sleeping. I limped with my queen. Got a pretty bad flop, pretty bad turn, pretty decent river. Min bet in case he has a 4 and wants to call, or a queen high he could have maybe called. He didn't. We still have Unicorn sleeping. Oh, Unicorn just came back. What do I do with the King 10? That's a tough one. I almost wanted to call, but I didn't, and now I'm happy that I didn't. King 10's tough. It wasn't against a raise. Again, I am a very tight player. I probably play less hands than most people watching. If I play with my friends in a live game, I'll play the King 10 on the button. When I'm playing online poker, I don't. I like King Jack a lot more than I like King 10. I don't know why. Decided this time to call. We'll see what happens. No flop for me. Got 2 overcards still. It's not worth bluffing at, not worth calling with, so we'll just lay it down. Sharkman really likes it. We'll see. Alright, well now that the blinds just went up to 150, I am now about 9 big blinds, which if you watch my other episodes, 9 big blinds is in my 6 to 12 big blind range, which typically means it's all in or fold territory. There are some instances I don't do that. We'll see if those instances come up. I'll explain them if I do. But pretty much at this point, it's fold, 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 and then hopefully an all-in and a win. But we will see what happens. This hand is getting interesting. Okay, 5-8 in the club. Ain't gonna be my hand, so I fold quickly. I also, in online gaming, try to fold quickly. The more quickly you fold, the more hands you'll likely see. As a tight player, the more hands I see, the better for me, the tighter I can play. So I do try to fold quickly as best as I can. So here we are. I'm about to be in the big blind for 1/9 of all of my chips. So this is about the time that I'm going to cover up what my cards are, because in online poker, I come face up, not face down. So I don't like having the anxiety of knowing I have a bad hand or knowing I have a good hand and waiting for everyone to react. I prefer to just wait and make my decision at that time. So I'm covering up my cards now. I see Dijon is sitting out, which means his hand will be auto-folded. And an all-in. Okay, 10-6, not going to call. Pretty simple fold. A Jackson 5, was good many years ago, but lately Jackson 5 just doesn't have, the spark it used to there. It's an aging hand, I guess. All right, not going to call with the Jack 5. Now we just continue to wait. We are now at 7 big blinds or so. So we are now in the very low stack, short stack territory. Definitely all in or fold, mostly. I am still above my threshold of being desperate, which means when I'm in the big blind next in, I don't know, 4 hands or so, I'm not committed to that hand. That 150 is not enough of my chips that I'm committed. These guys, 5, 6, pick up sticks. Ace 4, now that we're 6-handed, it's a little better than it was 7-handed, but it's not very good still. Being a short stack, I can't even be pushy and try to raise. Again, it's all in or fold pretty much, and so I opt to fold. Interesting overbet there. 3-6, 6 high is not going to be a very good all-in hand. So I'm really looking for a big ace or a pair or maybe a king queen. We'll have to see. See what the cards bring. Alright, well this, by the way, I don't think I said, it's my 3rd official game. I did have a kind of half of a game at the start, so maybe it's my 4th game that I'm putting on YouTube. We'll just say 4. Ooh, that's a good flop for aces. Ace, jack. Okay. Still not good enough. Ace, deuce. Now we're 5-handed. Aces get a little stronger. Anyway, this is my 4th game now officially, and I have cashed in 2 of my first 3. And I'm now fighting for my 3rd of 4. Gotten a 7th place, a 1st place, and a 3rd so far. And again, we're looking for 3rd place or better. Otherwise, it's not profit, it's loss. So we still need to beat 2 people here. I am the short stack, so I'm looking for my double up. Now I'm covering my cards. I had 110 or 1100. So this is 150 of my 1100, and the guy under the gun is doubling. So we'll see what my hand is as soon as it's on me. Well, it's not good enough to call an all-in, so I will fold. I'll see a crazy, it was a horrible all-in with the 3s. It's good for me. Now I only have to beat the shark or the unicorn to get paid. So that's the benefit of being tight. A lot of the times you can fold yourself in onto the podium. I've folded myself onto the podium all the time. If Shark Boy goes all in here and gets called by white jacket guy, well, I could potentially podium. So we'll just keep playing for our double up and see if maybe I get lucky and Shark Boy loses. So far he's keeps investing into this hand, which is good for me. And we'll see what happens. Okay. An ace 9, 4-handed, short stacked. That's definitely good enough to shove. We'll see what happens. Ooh, that's not good. Oof. Yeah, can't do much about that. You get caught. It's not that I had a horrible hand, it's just he had a very good hand. So, reflection time. Ace 9, I had 6 blinds, 4-handed, 1 had already folded. Is an ace 9 a hand I should go all in with? I would say yes. Hindsight, the answer is no. Couldn't have known that. My point is, it wasn't a bad play. Short stack, you see ace 9, it's worth shoving. It's unfortunate that I didn't get paid first, but that's what happens. So we'll end on that note. Look, ace 9 is the better hand here. My point is, keep watching, keep learning.